Welcome to this video where we will be talking about the derivation of the center radius form of a circle. Ano ang kailangan nating alam bago natin ma-derive yung center radius form ng circle? Kailangan mo lang yung definition ng circle. The definition of a circle is basically a point, series of points. Actually, let me write it here. Series of points equidistant to a fixed point. Now, yung fixed point na yun yung center ng circle, and then yung series of points, yun yung mismong circle natin. That's how we define a circle. Then we also will be needing the Pythagorean Theorem. And then the distance formula, which is basically nanggaling din naman dito sa Pythagorean Theorem. Pakita muna natin yung derivation ng center radius form ng circle kung manggagaling siya dito sa Pythagorean Theorem. So now we have here our circle with the center located at HK. This is our center, the fixed point in a circle. It is located at HK, an arbitrary location. Bakit HK? Well, most of our references gamit si HK para i-locate si center. Pwedeng ibang letters yan, but for the sake of communication and illustration, gamitin na lang natin yung pinakamadalas na ginagamit, which is HK, for the location of our center. And then, ang sabi, series of points daw na equidistant sa kanya. The fixed point is the center, and then series of points, which is equidistant. Kailangan natin ng distance, syempre, mula sa kanya. And we call that distance R, which is the radius. And then, of course, yung mga points na are away from the fixed point, which is center, yun yung ating circle. A series of points. Forgive my circle right here. This is the best that I can do. Now, paano natin gagamitin yung Pythagorean Theorem para ma-derive yung center radius form? Now, pansinin dito na pwede tayong gumawa ng isang right triangle. Pangalanan muna natin itong point na to. This is an arbitrary point. Pwede akong kumuha dito, pwede akong kumuha dito, pero gamitin na natin to. Tawagin natin siyang XY. That will be the location of that point. Now, drawing tayo ng right triangle mula dito sa ating radius at na nasa loob ng circle, of course. Gawa tayo. Of course, meron kang side dyan na parallel sa x-axis. Ibig sabihin, kapag in-extend ko ito infinitely, hindi sila magmi-meet forever. The same way gawa rin tayo dito. Parallel naman yan sa ating y-axis. Which means, kahit i-extend ko yan, hindi sila magmi-meet kahit kailan. Now, alam natin na para mahanap ko itong hypotenuse, which is opposite side of the right angle, right here, kailangan malaman ko yung sum ng square nitong side na to at nitong side na to. Kasi, ang sum daw nun is the square of this side. That's basically the Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Ayan yung tinuro sa atin na Pythagorean Theorem. The sum of the squares of the sides is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the right angle. Now, para magawa natin yon, syempre dapat tawagin natin itong side na to. Anong pwede kong itawag dito sa side na to? Pansinin natin na itong point na to, our center, is located at HK. H being the x-coordinate of that point. sabihin yung layo niya mula sa origin ay h. And then yung y coordinate niya is k. Ibig sabihin ang layo niya mula sa origin with respect to the y-axis is k. This is k. Ito ring xy. Si xy naman ay x coordinate. The x coordinate is x. So ito yun. Imaginary lines lang yan. And then the y coordinate is y away from the origin. Kailangan ko malaman anong pwede kong itawag dito sa side na to. Notice that the length of this segment is basically x. Kasi yun yung distance niya mula dito. If x is equal to 0, the x coordinate is 0, dito napunta yung x. Ibig sabihin, itong haba na yan ay x. The entirety of that is x. Para mahanap ko ito lang segment na to, kailangan kong putulin ito. Which is basically removing h from x. Because h is this far from x coordinate of 0. Kung ito yung h, kailangan ko lang siyang isubtract dito sa x, which means this side can be called as x minus h. Ayan yung isang side natin. How about this side? Notice na yung point na yon ay merong y coordinate. Ibig sabihin ang layo niya mula sa origin with respect to the y-axis is called y. Tinawag lang nating y, can be any letter. Pero mag-agree na lang tayo dun sa madalas na ginagamit for the sake of communication. So this is y. At ang gusto ko lang makuha is the length of this side. Ibig sabihin, kailangan putulin ko to. Alisin ko tong part na to na hindi ko kailangan, which is k. Ayan si k. Para mahanap ko yung length nitong side na to, i-reduce ko, bawasan ko si y ng k. Ulit ko siya sa part na to. Y minus k. Ito yun. Yung length ng side na yan. And then kanina yung hk, ito naman yun. Meron na akong tawag sa side na yan. This is x minus h. This is y minus k. Ang kulang na lang is of course the hypotenuse, which will be r squared. Ibig sabihin, pwede ko nang i-rename ito. Pwede na ako makapag-generate ng equation because I already labeled the parts. Let's try it on this side. So sabi, the sum of the squares of the sides. Ito ang sides natin. H minus h tsaka y. X minus h and y minus k. So meron kang, let me use the same color na ginamit natin dito. Meron kang x minus h squared added by the square of this side, which is y minus k. Y minus k square of that equal daw yun sa square ng hypotenuse, which is r squared. And this is our center radius form of the equation of the circle. Now, paano kung yung circle mo, yung center niya is located at the origin? Well, basically, yung hk mo magiging 0. If that's the case, if this center is at the origin, Ang magiging itsura lang ng iyong equation ay simpleng-simpleng x squared plus y squared equals the radius squared. Nawala yung h tsaka yung k. Bakit? Kasi yung center mo nga is located at the origin, and we know that the origin is located at 0, 0. So x minus 0 is simply x, y minus 0 is simply y. Yan yung magiging center radius form natin. And this will be the center radius form if the center of the circle is located at the origin. Ganyan mo madiderive yung center radius form if you will use the Pythagorean Theorem. Now, sa ibang textbooks, sa ibang mo pang mapapanood sa YouTube, pwedeng gumamit naman ng distance formula. Try din natin yun. Tingnan natin kung makuha natin yung kaparehong equation. The distance formula. Now, the only thing, kapag ginamit mo si distance formula, you have to have the prerequisite, yung prior knowledge mo about the distance formula, which is basically galing din naman sa Pythagorean Theorem. You have to recall that the distance formula is denoted as d, which is the distance, equal the square root of what? The sum of the squares of, you have x sub 2 minus x sub 1 and y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Extend natin yung radical sign. Ayan yung alam nating distance formula. Oops, nakalimutan natin yung square. Ayan yung alam nating distance formula, which basically nanggaling din naman sa Pythagorean Theorem. Now, paano ko gagamitin ito to derive the center radius form of a circle? Tingnan natin yung circle natin dito. Again, forgive me for my circle. This is the best that I can do. We have our C, the center, located again at HK, and then an arbitrary point on the circle na tinawag nating XY. Their distance, lahat ng points na yan, dapat parehas yung layo sa center. Ang tawag natin dun sa distance na yun, sa layo na yun, is R. Is our radius. Now, to solve for R, gagamitin mo yung distance formula. Then basically, your distance, what you're looking for, instead of D, pwede mo nang gamitin yung R. Kasi yun yung gusto mong malaman, gaano kalayo itong point na to mula dito. And then, gamitin mo daw yung, i-square mo daw yung difference between x sub 2 and x sub 1. Sino si x sub 2, sino si x sub 1? Well, it depends kung sino yung tatawagin mo sa kanilang first point. Your first point will be x sub 1, y sub 1. Second point will be x sub 2, y sub 2. Kahit alin naman yun sa kanila. For the sake of communication, tawagin na lang natin tong, yung x sub 2 na lang natin, tawagin natin ito. Alright? Again, pwedeng ito naman. Pero gagamitin ko na lang to for the sake of communication. So this is, let me use another color. X, instead of x sub 2, ito na x sub 2 ko. And then yung first point ko is the center, which means that x sub 1 is h. And then, square daw yun, ang ayon sa distance formula. And then, plus y sub 2, which is y, minus y sub 1, which is k. Square. And then, yung square root daw ng sum. So, dapat, huwag natin kakalimutan yan. Kaya lang sa madalas na pangunawa ng karamihan sa mga estudyante, karamihan sa atin, maybe pati adults, hindi pleasant sa mata yung may radical sign. Pwede naman nating alisin yan if we will square both sides. So, squaring both sides, meaning yung isang side na to, i-multiply ko sa sarili niya. The same way, itong kabilang side, i-multiply ko rin sa sarili niya. Bakit natin gagawin yon? Well, if you do something on one side, kailangan gawin mo rin yun sa kabila para manatili yung equal value nila. So, you're just changing the way they look, but not their overall value. So, kung in-square ko to, minultiply ko si r sa sarili niya, it's basically the same as r squared. R times r is also r squared. Now, in-square mo yung may radical sign, alam natin lahat that would be cancelled out. So, mawawala na to, mawawala din yon. It'll only leave you with x less h squared plus y minus k squared, which is the center radius form of a circle. Same thing. Paano kung si center ay located sa origin? Ibig sabihin, yung circle mo, the center radius form will be as simple as r squared equals x squared plus y squared. If h is 0 and k is 0 as well. Ibig sabihin yung center mo is located at the origin. So that's how you derive the center radius form of a circle. Thank you so much for watching.